Good evening, it's Easter Sunday. Out of respect for those that celebrate Easter, we decided to do no formal campaigning today, and indeed I started off the day at the Easter Mass at 10:30 at the Catholic Cathedral in the centre of Northampton. But there are some issues that have come in over email on the Facebook group, so I thought I'd answer back as I have on text, also in tonight's video. The first is around getting on the property ladder, which was Sean. He asked what measures the Labour government would take to help people onto the property ladder. There's a couple of things that we do, but the principal one is we will continue with the announced Help to Buy scheme, which was in the last budget, but we'll go one step further and require the banks that take part in that ISA scheme, from which of course they'll make money through their investments, to contribute to that capital into the Future Homes Fund, and that will help build 150,000 affordable homes by the end of the next Parliament. That's important for a couple of reasons, but the principal one is that we need to tackle runaway house prices by building more homes. That's just basic economics. But we'll also carry on supporting schemes like shared ownership and also shared equity and similar schemes to help people in as many ways as possible to get onto the housing ladder. I bought my place via the shared ownership route, and so I know that can be quite effective. But also for those that don't want to buy, those that want to rent or can only rent, then we will also strengthen rights for renters. So you'll be able to have longer tenancies, longer term fixed assured tenancies for those that want to stay, and we'll also ban the rip-off charges that lettings agencies apply at the beginning and the end of tenancies. Now, 0 hours contracts were discussed on my video last night, and interestingly I've had kind of both sides of the debate, or the employer-employee debate on the group today. Lucy was concerned about agency workers and that they're used as a way of getting round conditions on permanent employees. There's a couple of things we do about agency workers. Firstly is in the EU Agency Workers Directive, agency workers are entitled to the same rights as permanent employees. But what tends to happen is there's a loophole whereby if technically the agency employs the worker full time, then they don't have the same rights in the workplace they're in. That's particularly common in the warehouse sector in Northampton. So what we do is close that loophole, but also ensure that the minimum wage is enforced, and we would massively increase fines for non-enforcement of the minimum wage. It would also ban employment agencies for having a foreigner-only recruitment policy. Now that's designed on the whole by agencies who are pretty unscrupulous, who employ foreign-only workers, and then, because they don't know their rights because they're in a new country, undermine the minimum wage by putting illegal charges on their pay. So we're finding in some sectors of the economy here in Northamptonshire, people have been taken advantage of. They're not getting the minimum wage, and they're also not getting the employment rights they are entitled to as agency workers. So we'll tackle that. But equally, as was it Sam or Mark said, we also need to make sure that labour market flexibility is there where it's genuinely needed. Reform of 0 hours contracts is not around making sure businesses are given over-onerous responsibilities when it comes to hours. It's just to make sure that workers who are effectively full-time get those rights. So in industries like the warehousing sector, retail, the quick restaurant service sector, where there are seasonal peaks like Christmas jobs or summer fruit picking or whatever else, that wouldn't mean that you'd have to guarantee those hours throughout the year, because plainly that is ridiculous. What we're talking about is fair employment terms that don't put over-onerous responsibility on business that means they are uncompetitive. And the key test of this is good businesses already do this stuff. So our legislation on 0 hours contracts in particular is really aimed at cleaning up bad practice, not about punishing those who do good work. And then there was a final question from Chris about how I'd respond, how I'd run my constituency office, and how I deal with keeping in touch with you lot, and what kind of service level I guarantee as your MP. There are a couple of things. The first is I would run a full-time office in the middle of Northampton in the town centre, and one of the great things about Northampton South is it covers the town centre and everyone can get there. So I'll have an office there. We'll be staffed with caseworkers and a full representational office, as well as an office down in Westminster. I would guarantee to get back to you within 1 working week if you're getting in touch, and help you if you can, and also signpost to other services. I will also have Open forums, town hall debates across every single ward of Northampton South over the course of the 5-year Parliament, making sure that I'm near you at least once in a town hall format. I'll also continue to have this Facebook group and Twitter and interact in this way because in the modern world, this is a very easy and very personal way to communicate with the electorate, and I would carry on doing that as your Member of Parliament, just as I'm currently doing as the Labour parliamentary candidate. Anyways, back to the campaign proper tomorrow as the Easter weekend goes into bank holiday mode, so do keep the questions coming. I'll be out in every corner of Hampton South over the next 7 days, so if I don't see you on the doorstep, I'll see you on Facebook. Thanks.